Hey guys, welcome back. Godtear ATX, Dice Tam here. This is something we haven't really done on the channel before, but this is a follow-up video to the most recent Strat Chat conversation in which Mr. Fishopoulos and I were talking about the construction scenario. I said that I think Rattlebone is really good here. I think she's kind of uniquely suited to this scenario and it to her. Mr. Fishopoulos challenged me to put my dice where my mouth is and prove it. So this is that game that we played immediately after that conversation. I ended up bringing Rattlebone, Maxon, and Mournblade versus her Fenra, Skullbreaker, and Helena. I forced her to play Helena versus my Rattlebone. Neither of us are particularly big fans of Rattlebone or Helena. We're just not. They don't fit our playstyles, and we don't know them that well relative to other champions. So we're both a little bit trying new things here. And I think both of those champions are well suited to this scenario, as we discussed. So this is that game. I think we're already just about into turn 2 here. This is turn 1. So here we go. I made an early mistake here with Maxon where I put a Gearhawk in front of him to try to get that accuracy boon because I knew I was going to be shooting at Fenra. But what I ended up doing was just blocking myself off. I did make a couple of dumb mistakes throughout this game, as you'll see. That's Godtear. Nobody plays perfectly. I really should have put the Gearhawk off to the side and left myself a lane to get into the middle there, but that's all right. We're kind of jockeying for position. I did manage to keep Fenra way at the back. I threw a bunch of Gearhawks down the field and blocked her off, knowing she couldn't do anything about that in the plot phase. I did lose a couple of Gearhawks as a result in the clash, but Fenra had bad dice all game. And I didn't mind losing a few of them, especially in turn 1, to keep her way in the back and hopefully prevent her from getting a flag down in turn 2, which did happen. Then, brought Mournblade on up, and I've got Rattlebone in the middle to crush banners and fight Skullbreaker. I did end up using, via the Hexlings and also the Gearhawks throughout the game, I just kept pumping accuracy boons into Rattlebone, which ended up being key. That brings Power Hex up to a 5/6, which is great into Skullbreaker. I hit him really early on in turn 1, and you can see he's already down to 3 HP immediately, and then I was able to pocket that kill and just save it. So here we are into the end phase and starting turn 2. Mournblade's claiming, and then I ulted with him to lock Helena down, which was very stupid. This was another big mistake I made, where I should have known that Helena could use Lead the Charge and just squeak right out of that and crush my banner, but I straight up forgot about it. So that ended up being a useless ult and kind of left my Nightshades out to dry. They were out of position for quite some time now. Yeah, she's about to block off my Nightshades with those followers, and then they're just going to kind of sit there for a while, which was a problem. I get my banner down with Rattlebone, but of course I'm now parked directly next to Skullbreaker, which is always a problem. You never want to start the clash phase next to Skullbreaker. And I've got Maxon hanging out, camped on this side. This is that position I was talking about that I think is kind of ideal for anybody, especially if you got some ranged attack like Maxon does. If you're nestled between those 3 hexes, 3 objectives on the wing, I think that's a great place to start the turn. For the plot phase, turn 2, great place to be. I then use Maxon to jump up and kill Fenra, which takes out her flag. And then, of course, Rattlebone gets killed in response to prevent me from taking out that other banner. But then I just came in from the other side with Mournblade and scooped that up. So that left Maxon's banner, that's untouchable at this point, to balance out Helena. So we got some banner parity there. And it just came down to combat, but with that Fenra kill, and some follower damage, I was able to keep this one on my side. Mournblade got killed. That's no big surprise. He always does. I thought about using Power Hex, or no, sorry. I thought about using her ultimate, Rattlebone's ultimate, in here in turn 2 to slow everybody down. I had 3 Hexlings at 1.4, and I could have potentially gotten about 3 boons each, or 3 blights each onto Skullbreaker and Fenra, but I opted to just walk around, crush and plant instead. That ended up being the right choice. But I did have a couple of opportunities where I weighed using that ult. I didn't get as much diversified use out of Rattlebone's kit as I thought I would. I don't think I ever got anything out of Roll the Bones other than when you roll a blank, and I got some boons onto the Hexlings. I did use Call Totems to block up some spaces, and I did, of course, use her attacks. But I never found an opportunity for Cursed Ground, even though I was talking about it. I still think Cursed Ground could be really good here, but I just never. It was always full of these little lanes were always full of followers. There was never a good opportunity for it. Here we're into turn 3. She's gone first. Skullbreaker claimed on the wing here. I don't think you can see Helena's got 2 built-up hexes underneath, so she's going to be worth 7 in the end phase. Skullbreaker claims, blocks that lane, and then Fenra gets to claim as well. So she was set up really well at the top of turn 3 here. I did squeak out. I squeaked out turn 2 by a single step, where I managed to KO just enough followers to outbalance Helena. So here we go. I tried to use Maxon's ult to take out Fenra in this plot phase, but I ended up just leaving her at 1. So didn't kill her, didn't take the banner down, so I used Rattlebone to just crush that banner, get it out of the way, and then claim deep. And then I had rallied Mournblade, who was knocked out, rallied him via the Nightshades, ran him across the board, and then claimed behind Maxon in the objective he had just vacated. So now what I do is Fenra crushes Rattlebone's banner, and I used Rattlebone to KO Skullbreaker. He was still at 3 from turn 1. What I should have done is done the same thing with Maxon. I should have brought Maxon in and KO'd Skullbreaker with Maxon to get rid of that banner. But I just forgot, and I was too excited about Rattlebone. I kept trying to find ways to use Rattlebone impressively, and this was where I just got overeager, and I used her where I should have used Maxon. But I did get that Skullbreaker KO, so that's all right. So that means that now Mournblade's banner behind Maxon there is going to be worth 5, as is Skullbreaker's banner that nobody can touch, unfortunately. So those two are going to be equal, and that leaves Helena, who's going to be worth 7 steps. So I realized I just kind of had to max the battle ladder here in order to win this turn and take the game. But the Skullbreaker kill helped a lot, and then I do have Fenra at 1 HP right now. So what I'm going to be able to do, there we go, run Maxon down, just shoot Fenra directly in the face with a piercing shot, take her out. That scored enough to max the ladder, and then with Skullbreaker KO'd, he never got his ult off the whole game. So that really let me keep the battle ladder way deep in my side. Skullbreaker's going to get up, but I've got a Nightshade next to him. He rolls an attack on the Nightshade just because. Here you go, and misses. Well, he doesn't miss, but he doesn't kill. He got 3 on that roll. So that was game. Ultimately, I did win. I didn't make a lot of use out of all the diverse bits of Rattlebone's kit like I thought I might. Mr. Fishopolis argues that that's not enough. I didn't prove my point that she's good here. I just happened to win. What do you think? Play the scenario, play it with Rattlebone. Have you tried it? Let us know about it. What are your results? who else do you think is good here? Thanks for watching. Godtear ATX. Keep Godtear weird. Later.